I recently saw a Reddit post where a husband expressed gratitude for his wife's weight loss after he requested it, emphasizing her dedication to their marriage. Personally, I see both sides. I want to hear from men who unconditionally love their partners to know that such love exists. I did not expect to receive so many responses. Thank you. I will be reading through them during some downtime. Story 1. I have been married for 24 years this month. I feel that I love my wife unconditionally. Even if she committed a serious crime, I would still love her. If she cheated, I might not stay with her, but I would still love her. I married the perfect woman for me. We have fun together and we laugh and cry together. If we had to face challenges, we would do that together. There isn't anything I can think of that would make me stop loving her. I met her in January, had my first date in February, and 2 months later we were married in April. That was 24 years ago. Have I always liked her? No, but I have always loved her. Being in my 40s and married for over 20 years is an amazing way to live life. I wouldn't change a thing. Story 2. I love my wife dearly. To say that it is unconditional would be unrealistic. However, my love for her is not dependent on her looks, her share of household chores, losing weight, or anything so trivial. I love her because she deserves to be loved for her very existence, not her actions. However, if she decided to cheat on me or commit serious crimes, I might have a change of heart. Story 3. I look at my trophy wife of 48 years and say, I love this woman, about 10 times a day. In my opinion, I married a unicorn. Story 4. I let my mother-in-law move in with us, and she lived here for about 10 years, including the last 2 years with dementia. She would often scream at me, accusing me of taking her baby at gunpoint. We were finally able to get her into a care facility about 2 months ago. In the meantime, I had very little time to spend alone with my teenage sons, since we couldn't leave her alone. But I am trying to make up for that now. I would never have done this for anyone besides my wife. Story 5. I don't think unconditional love exists, regardless of sex or gender. The conditions may vary from person to person, but I am comfortable saying that almost everyone has a boundary. I have 10 years of family law experience to support this. Story 6. I could tell you about it, but recently I have been called a sexually frustrated married man. I have been married for over 20 years, and as she goes through menopause and the 5 or 6 years prior, our bedroom life has evaporated faster than rainfall in Death Valley. The thought of cheating on her or leaving just because the intimacy is gone is abhorrent, and I really miss it. She puts up with me, and I can be quite immature. It must be love. Story 7. I recently went through a difficult time when I lost my job. My girlfriend, now fiancée, stood by me throughout it all. She understood the situation and never blamed me for the hardships I faced. Instead, she supported me unconditionally. I have a new job now, and things are improving. I am grateful for her support during that challenging period. It's important to recognize that support goes both ways, and I would do the same for her. Story 8. No one should love anyone unconditionally except themselves. If your partner treats you poorly, cheats on you, or is abusive, you should not love that person unconditionally. Story 9. Many people focus on the concept of unconditional love. A better way to express it is love that transcends infatuation and lust. It is a love based on commitment and loyalty that prioritizes the well-being of others over one's own selfish desires. I am single and have not yet found that kind of love, so I may not be the best person to ask. Story 10. I truly appreciate what my husband and I have built together. We have been together for 10 years, and we understand each other well and are quite laid back. For instance, I was approached for a sexual encounter by an old friend last week, and I firmly declined. This friend then asked if my husband and I have an account on a subscription platform, if we are looking for a third partner, or if we would allow him to observe. I responded with a clear no. I shared the text conversation with my husband, and we both laughed at how ridiculous this friend's requests were. There was no insecurity or jealousy. We simply shrugged it off and mutually agreed that it was strange and amusing. Our energies just align. The only thing that would ever cross the line for me is if he ever harmed our son in any way, which I can't imagine happening, as they are very close. I love my husband. Story 11. Unconditional love is often associated with children, although this is not entirely accurate. Less attractive children often receive harsher treatment and less attention from their parents compared to their more attractive peers, as research has shown. If this holds true for children who possess various evolutionary traits that elicit care from others, then adults are likely at an even greater disadvantage. Story 12. Unconditional love is simply a lack of boundaries. However, what you are describing does not seem to be an issue. One person asked the other to make a change, and they did. It is not my relationship, so it is not my place to project my own boundaries onto the situation. You are allowed to desire any kind of partner you want. You are allowed to want a partner who is attracted to you, regardless of your body. You are allowed to want a partner who will communicate when that attraction is threatened, giving you a chance to address it. You are allowed to want a partner who will keep that information to themselves and remain supportive even when attraction wanes. You are allowed to want a partner who will withhold that information and leave without explaining why. However, you need to choose a partner with those traits, because your partner is entitled to their own preferences as well. Contrary to popular belief, love does not conquer all. Sometimes, love alone is not enough to sustain a relationship. Story 13. I love my wife more than ever after over 30 years together. Since becoming empty nesters, we have enjoyed a sort of second honeymoon period. We have accomplished so much together, and now we can relax and enjoy mutual hobbies like fitness, international travel, and various social activities. We definitely feel blessed to have what we have, but it took effort with many ups and downs along the way. I wouldn't call it unconditional love, but it is very close to it. Story 14. Does it count if I talk about a former partner? I had a partner who was bipolar and constantly did everything she could to hide her mood shifts. I would intentionally get her alone when I sensed she was feeling angry, sad, or experiencing any other negative emotion so she could express herself without judgment. I encouraged her to yell at me when she was angry, and afterwards, I would always give her a hug and remind her I took none of it personally. I miss her, as chaotic as that was, because she truly was a sweetheart who would listen to me share the wild ideas in my head. Story 15. My wife is the love of my life. We have children and the whole experience. Over the years, she has become comfortable, as we all do. I went from being fit at 230 pounds to a regular guy weighing 320 pounds. She is 5 feet tall, was about 120 pounds when we met, and now she weighs around 230 pounds. I still cherish our intimate moments whenever I have the opportunity. And yes, I believe we could both benefit from losing weight, but after a certain time, it's no longer about appearances. Story 16. The relationship was highly emotionally and financially abusive. I have been out of it for 3 years now and am still in therapy trying to pick up the pieces. It was a difficult experience. Lessons learned. You cannot fix a relationship on your own. Never make yourself smaller for someone else. Trust your instincts. It does not matter how rational you are. If your instincts say no, then you should listen. Using infatuation as a tool for emotional regulation within a relationship can waste decades of your life. Story 17. I just do things. Her tank was low, so I filled it after I put all the kids to bed. I refreshed the flowers in her vase. I leave her alone during the finale. Story 18. I don't believe unconditional love is healthy in a romantic relationship. When I fall in love with someone, it's because I appreciate who they are, how they act, their thoughts and beliefs. I love them as a unique individual. If something significant about that changes, if they have been dishonest about something important, do something hurtful or anything else, the reasons I love them are no longer valid. Loving someone unconditionally, in my view, means loving them for their relation to you. You could love a child unconditionally. You could love a partner unconditionally, but I don't think you should. I'm also not personally aligned with the situation you described regarding weight loss, but that is a separate matter. Story 19. Just look at Will and Jada, who talk about unconditional love. It's not healthy. As much as I used to admire Will, I think this concept doesn't make sense. We may care for people, but unconditional love means accepting whatever they do. I think we need to have that with ourselves so we can learn and grow, But if another person behaves in harmful ways, it can be toxic and damaging. For me, love is conditional on being treated well, respected, and cared for. Why would I love someone who treats me poorly? Story 20. I love my wife the same with a weight fluctuation of about 50 pounds. I love my wife despite her working jobs that do not help us financially and using her college degree in a way that feels unproductive. I support my wife even though she suffers from a disease that can only be managed. I am not sure what you were getting at, but this is what I have. Story 21. My partner is a bit insecure about her appearance. I always make an effort to reassure her of her beauty, but she often notices other women looking at me and points it out. This has become a regular occurrence, and I understand it stems from her past experiences with infidelity. To help her feel more secure, I decided to grow my beard without grooming it. It has been this way for a few years, and she seems much happier now. I only get a trim for important events. I think my decision to look good is solely for her benefit. Story 22. The concept of unconditional love is unreasonable. I wouldn't love my wife if she harmed innocent individuals and took another person's life on her way home. Story 23. There is no such thing as unconditional love. It is not an issue with human nature. It is a flawed concept from the start. Could you really become a monstrous serial killer or cannibal who makes global headlines, while your partner continues to post on social media about standing by your side? That will never happen. Story 24. You do not receive unconditional love from human beings. I am certain your parents would look at you strangely if you tried to eat your firstborn. I believe you have your own conditions. Story 25. True unconditional love is probably impossible on a human level. Even the Christian Bible, possibly the strongest advocate for monogamous marriage until death do us part, allows for divorce in cases of abuse, abandonment, and adultery. What I think you're reacting to is modern relationship culture. We have strayed so far from traditional marriage that people break up over trivial issues now. In our efforts to correct the problems with traditional marriage, we have created a system where it's impossible to feel secure in any relationship. At any given time, you're one red flag or ick away from getting dumped. Story 26. It's about reciprocation. You give and he gives back. Some people don't reciprocate. They aren't good partners in the long term. It's as simple as that. Story 27. Unconditional love does not exist, nor is it desirable if you are pursuing what is best for your life. You cannot be loved for who you are if someone loves you regardless of your actions. Story 28. If unconditionally means not to worry about the things she cannot control, then yes. If it means she gets a pass no matter what, then no. Story 29. Unconditional love means that he loves you as you are, and it also means that he does not want to lose you. Being unhealthy falls into this category. He loves her enough to tell her she needs to lose weight, which is a good thing. Yes, it's hard to accept that someone might tell you something you don't want to hear, but if you love someone enough, you have to communicate what makes them uncomfortable. Story 30. He loves his wife so much that he is looking out for her health and helping her live a better life. Story 31. I knew my wife for years before, but she was always distant from everything I did during the middle and beginning of high school. I asked her to dance to a George Strait song, and she looked at me in a way I can hardly describe. It was like the last centerpiece of a million-piece puzzle just fitting. We are in our 30s now, and I cannot imagine a day without her love. That love has only grown. She is everything I ever wanted and more than I deserve. When I need someone to lean on, I don't have to ask. She already knows. I am not a perfect husband, and she is not a perfect wife, but she is perfect for me, and I wouldn't change a thing about her. We have grown up together and tackled every challenge in life as a team. I believe my love for her is as unconditional as I am capable of. I love my children and would do anything for them, but they will grow up to raise their own families, and my wife will still be there for me. Find love and protect it at all costs. True love is given unconditionally, but it is the recipient of that love who needs to be protected. From what I have seen through people I know, without success, women often chase the need to be desired from the easiest source, which is new infatuation, while men often seek something unfamiliar. It is easy to see the flaws in others if that is what you are looking for. Unconditional love means focusing on the best attributes of the person you deeply care for and striving to meet their needs. When that love is reciprocated, that is where true happiness comes from. Story 32. I have been with my partner for 15 years, since our first year in high school. We made it work by keeping our relationship private, communicating through our problems, and resolving our issues. She is my best friend, and I ensure that she wants for nothing. Story 33. I don't see how this is incompatible with loving your spouse unconditionally. Asking your spouse to lose weight is not the same as saying you will not love them if they do not. Story 34. Love is conditional. Certain actions can cause a person to fall out of love with their partner. The idea of unconditional love can be dangerous, as it implies that there are no mistakes or wrongdoings that could jeopardize the relationship, leading to a situation where actions like cheating, stealing, or abusing are overlooked or forgiven. These are often conditions that could stop a person from loving someone. Unconditional love suggests a lack of consequences. Being deeply in love, however, is a powerful emotion that one might feel for another despite their flaws. It's an incredible experience to feel so connected to someone that your heart feels at home when you are with them, to feel complete in their embrace. The trust between partners means knowing that they will support you when needed and have your back if you are challenged. However, being deeply in love also means experiencing double the pain if one partner betrays the other. It is heartbreaking when this happens. This is why it can be difficult to read about individuals who experience this type of love only to be betrayed, even to the extent of tolerating their partner's abusive behavior, as facing the pain of betrayal can feel overwhelming. Story 35. I love my former wife unconditionally after a 30-year relationship. We separated and divorced, and no breakup is easy. It hurts to experience the loss, but I don't harbor any bad feelings. Change was necessary between us. She is a good person in a positive light. Story 36. I believe that if you truly love someone for who they are, you never stop loving them. My wife and I have been together since 2001, and I love her deeply. My love is not dependent on her mood, job, income, actions, appearance, or anything else. I love her for who she is. If they do something that crosses a line, such as cheating, murder, or abuse, you may not be able to or want to be with them, but I don't think you ever stop loving someone you truly loved. To truly love someone for who they are means that they become a part of your very existence, and you would be unable to remove a part of yourself. These are just my thoughts on the subject. Story 37. I met my wife when I was 17 in 1987. She is my first and only girlfriend. I was a very popular guy in college and served as the kickboxing instructor for the only club at St. Louis University. Despite that, I never flirted with or touched any other woman. After 37 years, we have grown apart but have always respected each other. There have been no yelling or angry outbursts, and now we are ready to part ways. While it may not be the happiest marriage, it is one based on values and principles, at least from my perspective. To me, success is living by my principles. Story 38. I am a woman, but I do believe love has some conditions. In a marriage, those conditions arise in extreme circumstances such as abuse or infidelity. Honestly, I trust my husband implicitly. I know he wouldn't hurt me in any meaningful way. We both put each other's needs above our own for the most part and are committed to making our relationship work. We communicate openly about how we are feeling and thinking. We are dedicated to being partners through job changes, losses, grief, and illness. I love who he is on an intrinsic level, and I believe we are soulmates. That said, if he ever did abuse me or cheat, those would be boundaries, and I would not continue in the relationship. The same applies vice versa. If he gained a little weight, I wouldn't end things, as he has only been supportive during my pregnancy weight gain. Story 39. Shouldn't everyone who is in a relationship love their partner? I'm not sure how far unconditional love goes, though. Story 40. I don't have any specific examples at the moment. However, 2 women I work with have expressed how jealous they are of the mutual admiration we share. That makes me feel good. Story 41. Currently single, but I have loved my past partners relatively unconditionally. There's no cute story here. I never thought I would abandon her for gaining weight in a realistic and normal way, being unemployed, not doing much with the house chores, or going through a serious illness. I'm not entirely sure it was truly unconditional, though, just how I felt about it. Story 42. My wife is my person. She is the perfect match for me. We are best friends, and when we go out for dinner or entertainment, we often get stopped because you can see how much we love each other. I'm not talking about excessive public displays of affection, but people notice the way we talk to each other and interact. Story 43. I am unsure what examples of unconditional love you are looking for, but I am in a marriage without sexual intimacy. We have been together for 16 years, married for 12 as of May. It wasn't always without sexual intimacy, but recently she has realized that she identifies as asexual. Despite this, I find that I love her even more than I did 10 years ago. Story 44. I wonder how he pulled that off. I have dated girls at multiple weight points and love them all. I live an active lifestyle and prioritize health. However, none of them wanted to join me on runs or at the gym. I never shamed or demanded that they accompany me. I simply hoped they would follow my example. I always offered to help without judgment. I initiated intimacy and made them feel wanted, performing sweet gestures without any expectations of reciprocation. I treated them with respect. I guess results vary. Story 45. It starts with me. I used to value priorities that were unimportant. I sought short-term happiness instead of focusing on the long term. I aimed to please myself instead of finding fulfillment through my partner. I hindered my own progress. My unconditional love for my wife stems from my openness to her abilities and my willingness to listen. Rather than criticizing the things I wish she could do, I celebrate her strengths and help with the rest. Story 46. It exists. We have been married for 23 years, and we adore each other. We kiss, hug, and sometimes just touch as we pass each other in the house every day. I love you is something we say daily. Equally important, we like and respect each other. Story 47. I'm a woman, but you shouldn't love your partner unconditionally. If my husband abused our son, I would stop loving him. He never would, of course. You may not stop loving your partner when they let go of themselves, but you'll likely stop respecting them. If your partner gains weight due to a metabolic condition and they're still active and engaging in self-care, I don't think that makes you respect them any less or feel less attracted to them. I think it's slovenly behavior that turns people off. Story 48. I think the idea of unconditional love is a myth. Maybe I am a cynic, but we all have conditions on our love to some degree. It's just that those of us who love deeply set reasonable conditions, like, don't cheat on me, don't abuse me, or don't be an axe murderer. I wonder if I just don't love as deeply as I think I do. I don't put conditions on things like weight, career, health, or any of that, just what I consider reasonably healthy boundaries. That said, nearly every relationship I have ever had has ended due to one of these boundaries being crossed, so perhaps I am just not loving deeply enough. Story 49. My wife's weight fluctuates, and at her lightest, she is 200 pounds. I love her regardless. She is genuinely beautiful and attractive, and it helps that I come from a family of overeaters. Growing up, I watched my mother struggle to lose weight until she got a lap band. Now that I am middle-aged and my body is starting to betray me, I am having weight problems too. Knowing how hard it is to lose weight, I never let her think that my love is conditional. Story 50. She comes from a toxic relationship, and I have had to deal with some unusual situations. She has never cheated on me but has faced challenges only possible in a relationship. It is hard to deal with insecurities, but it is beautiful to have someone open up to you and witness their honesty and growth. Ideally, I would have preferred to meet her when all of this was resolved. Yes, I met her when I did. We know that chemistry is easy, but timing is difficult. I played it out, and I am happy with where I am now. Story 51. I think it just means that you love them even though they are not perfect. It means they do not have to buy your love, please you, or act a certain way for it. Story 52. Well, I don't know if it's ultimately unconditional, but if she cheated, I would still love her. Today, after years of neglecting me, I still love her. She can wear what she wants. She has gained some weight. She isn't as into sports as I am, and she isn't very physically fit. She was once so adventurous, but I still love her. It doesn't matter if the household is a mess. I still love her. My love for her depends not on trivial things like looks or her actions, but solely on her existence. However, she, on the other hand, says things like, "How can I love you if you aren't even able to hang the lamp?" She doesn't want intimacy with me when the household is messy. At times, she has criticized me for gaining weight after an injury, which has prevented me from running or participating in any sports. She even says that the cat and the dog receive more love, or at least more physical touch, than I do. This, considering that I truly love her, is really affecting me and causing me to doubt our marriage and relationship. Story 53. Nobody loves anyone unconditionally. It is neither possible nor desirable. There must always be a limit to what one will accept. Unconditional love would be a mental illness. Story 54. If you love your partner unconditionally, you might be experiencing Stockholm Syndrome. If I were in love and she harmed my family, I wouldn't feel the same way anymore. If there is truly nothing that person could do to lose your respect, then that could be unhealthy for you. Story 55. Having not seen the post you are referencing, the two ideas are not mutually exclusive. You can want your partner to improve something and still unconditionally love them regardless. Insofar as unconditional love is a concept anyway. Story 56. I still love her and I always will. However, I ended the relationship because things were not going well, and I became overwhelmed. We both had issues to address. Loving someone and being in a relationship are two different things. I will always love her and wish her the best. It would make me sad to know she is having a hard time, and I would still help her out of a tough spot. However, she is not someone I should date, much less build a life with. Unconditional love but not unconditional commitment, I suppose. Story 57. Sadly, unconditional love is not typically challenged until she does something so horrible that it would destroy any normal person's love. Story 58. This lady helped me through the most painful experience of my life. She can do anything she wants, and I will always be supportive. Story 59. I have been with my partner for almost 3 years, and honestly, it has been a roller coaster of emotions. I have seen both the good and the really bad. Over time, she has taught me so much about myself in ways I couldn't imagine. At one point in our relationship, things got very difficult, and I had to learn that there is no such thing as forgetting but rather forgiving. Having a partner who is willing to do anything to help you heal and grow is unmatched. My love for her has evolved from not being able to open up about things, to frustration that fueled resentment from those suppressed feelings, and negative thoughts towards my partner and our relationship. Currently, I am the happiest I have ever been in my life and in my relationship. I can talk to her about anything, and it is so refreshing to have someone with whom I can be transparent. It almost feels like she is me in the form of another person. I know for a fact that I have found my soulmate. Story 60. I would argue that there is no such thing as unconditional love. It does not exist. There is selfless, giving, and sacrificial love, but not unconditional love. Story 61. All love is conditional. I love my wife very much, but if she came home and hit me in the face, it would be over. Story 62. I think the only unconditional love that exists is the love that mothers have for their children. Yes, I specified mothers. Not that men cannot love their children. I think most do, very much so, to the best of their abilities. However, the biological and evolutionary link that exists between mother and child just isn't there. My father is great and has been the best father I could ever ask for. There are things I would ask of my mother that I know she would do for me in a heartbeat that my father would not. She loves me unconditionally, without any rules or boundaries. There is nothing I could do that would make her stop caring for me and prioritizing my well-being above all else. If I were to harm her, she would be praying for my soul with her final breath. For instance, I am a struggling and recovering heroin addict. My mother has given me money to buy heroin, despite how much she hates my addiction and doesn't want me to use. Her mother was an alcoholic and she doesn't even drink, so she hates substance abuse. However, she knows that if she didn't give me money, I would resort to doing very bad things to get it. Her love for me and her desire to protect me supersedes the law, morality, and her own beliefs about what is right and wrong. Some may disagree with what she did, but it was rooted in the purest of love. My father wouldn't consider doing that for me. He thinks it's wrong and harmful to me, and that belief is more important to him than my physical well-being. On the other hand, my survival is the only thing my mother cares about. I am prepared to be attacked for this, but I am pretty convinced of the accuracy of my position, based on 39 years of observing human behavior on this planet. Story 63. Why bias a question towards pushing your point of view? Perhaps you just don't want to lose weight and want to use conditional love as a crutch to support that. Conditional love, in the traditional sense, is not a great thing. To love someone does not mean you see zero flaws in them. It means you still value them as a person and want to be around them despite those flaws. Sometimes those flaws can make you uncomfortable, such as weight, eating habits, or reactions in certain situations, and you may want your partner to work on those flaws. It does not mean you will only love them if those flaws are fixed. Unless the husband in the story threatened the marriage, this seems like a completely healthy relationship. Either you aren't willing to work on anything about yourself for your partner, or for some reason, you think weight is a sacred issue for women that should not be talked about and automatically signifies conditional love. Story 64. Outside of a parent's love, there is no such thing as unconditional love. Stop this nonsense. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.